So welcome. Thank you very much for joining us. My name is Amanda Jenkins and I've been with Silvalea almost 24 years now, and during that time I've sort of gained a lot of knowledge and understanding of slings, when to use them, their suitability. So I'm going to share some of that knowledge with our most popular paediatric slings. So we've got a selection and we will go through the ones that we know have worked for many different types of scenarios. So hopefully that will be helpful to you guys. But I'm going to start by looking at a couple of manual products. So I've got my colleague here, Judith.
Good morning.
So Jude has got the walk assist on. So this is like a little waistcoat. It's a manual waistcoat that youngsters could wear, even adults. So all the slings, we're focusing on paediatrics, but most of the slings will go up to adult sizes if you need that information too. But this is a little jacket that has little handles on, so positioning handles. It was designed for a youngster who had a really unstable gait, and mum wanted something to hold on to rather than grabbing her arms or her clothing. So she asked us to make this little walk assist waistcoat, and it works really well. So for many types of situations, you can then just one or two carers just gently control, well, not grab and pull, but certainly just a steady. So you've got handles here and handles at the side. There is a little side zip here so that you can use or expand over clothing, jacket. So a little bit versatile there, and then undo. So it will allow for a bit of growth there or over thicker clothing. It's made in a soft mesh, lightweight mesh. So it's light, it won't cause overheating, so it's quite good there. So that's the first product in our manual items. Do we have any questions on that one, Ree? No, okay. So the second one, thanks Jude. Second one is well, possibly one that you'll know. It's a manual sling. Jude, if you wouldn't mind holding that. It looks like a sling shape, but without tapes. And this is used for either emergency evacuation, often used for travel. And it just applies like a sling between the legs, clips together with that modesty. There is a zipper there to zip the legs together. And then you've got the waist support there with handles on. So you've got several handles, so depending on how many carers you've got, and of course then have to be mindful of the lifting, moving and handling regulations as to how many you need for the weight of the patient, but you could hold those two there. I can hold here, but very simple, often used for emergency situations where somebody maybe fall in a playground and there's no hoist available, so they can get them from the floor up into a wheelchair, and then transfer to where there's a sling or hoist. So again, it is quite useful. We've got a filler here. So from the back, I'll just show you the filler so that the bottom doesn't fall through if it's quite slender. But we have made them without the filler for emergency rectal medication. So it has been made without the filler there. So certainly it's quite versatile there. But because it's a manual product, all manual products, you have to really risk assess the suitability and for manual use. So you just need to be mindful of that and follow the guidelines. So that's the it's called a manual transfer sling. So if you need to have any further information, you need to just put it in on a website to search. That's the manual one. But the last manual, thanks Julie, the last manual product. Now, my colleague's just going to bring up the information that's on the website because there's some very good images just to show you. So this is our travel light. So it's two slings basically for travel. So it's manual and hoistable. So just showing you a few of those images there. So on the website, every product we've got will have a page like this with full information, data sheets, sizing guides, instructions of use. So it's all under one section there to help you with everything you need for that product. So please refer to that if you need to look at it again and to understand it a bit more. Check the sizing, which we'll go through as well today. But it's quite an innovative product. Thanks, Ree. If you come back to me, it's basically a sling in a bag. So it's a lightweight sling that you can use for travel, and it just unfolds out of the bag. So let's just take it out. There we go. Jude, do you want to come here a minute, please? So again, it looks like a sling. That's there. So this can be used, so a deluxe shape, so quite a, a very well-known shaped sling. And then you can use it by hoisting up with the tapes. These tapes here create like a drawstring to pull round and then hook up to create a loop there. But if you use it manually, then you fold up these tapes. They fold up neatly into a pocket. So tuck them away. Then again, apply it like a sling. So you apply it. And again, the video online is very clear, so you'll be able to watch that. So that it makes it clearer. Bear with me. Twisted. Good. And again, depending on how many carers, what size, you've got the sling that pulls up, drawstrings around. So again, really useful for travel, certainly days out, family trips. And then, of course, when you're not using it, you just open up the head pocket and pull it all through, a bit like a pillowcase. So it all tucks in really neatly. So into that pocket there. Go. And closes there with a little bit of a tab there. So that's called the travel light or sling in a bag. Do we have any questions on? They're okay so far? Those are the manual things. So what we'll look at now, thanks Jude, are a couple of harnesses. So we know with children and therapy sessions, it's really good to get a youngster upright, all sorts of well-being to get them interacting. So we've got our most popular are these two. So the first one is the Rachel harness. So the Rachel harness is really well known. It's a little jacket. So it's a little mesh jacket that you put on like a waistcoat, and then it clips through the groin like that. Now there are shoulder openings now, so that if you have someone that has contracted arms or has had difficulty putting a jacket on, then you've got an opening at the shoulder which will help apply it like a tabard.
Are these still standing ones?
So what this was originally designed for was a youngster, a little toddler whose mum didn't have the strength to lift. So dad would put the little harness on, and then when needed, he was trained just to get in position so that mum could hook up the tapes and then transfer him into his wheelchair, or pushchair, high chair. So it's quite good for many situations, but we introduced it to our special schools, and it's very popular for lots of things, for rehab, for interaction, for encouraging natural patterns of movement from the floor. So from play on the floor to kneeling, high kneeling, standing, things like that. And what harnesses do is they sort of take away the need for handling. So very useful product. There are many different ones, but these are our most popular. I've got it set up here. So this is with a hoist. Now, we've heard that it's very useful in schools when you've got someone who's sat at their desk or doing their activity and all their energy is taken up with sitting up. So rather than they're carrying out their activities, they're trying to sit up. Whereas if they've got a harness behind them in this type of situation, it will then support them and then they can carry out their activity. But if we were just to drop this without taking up the tension, you've got this little dummy here would just flop. So by just taking up that little bit of support behind them, then it's going to be helpful in that situation. If I just going to take the mannequin off. Do you want to just move him around the side there? The rear chairs, the brakes are on there. On the side. On that side, that's it. So I just want to show you, just bring him centrally. Do you want to just hold? Otherwise he'll just fall. So just looking at the back, you can see that it is shaped around the bottom there. So there is specific shaping, but from the front, you've got these clips here. But if you have someone that's able to stand and weight bear, then you can walk them to the commode there and then carry out hygiene transfer. So possible with that type of situation. The other thing, just clip him back in, is that it comes, so these tapes are detachable, all of them are detachable, but it also comes, if you hold to the side, with a hip tape. And these are often taken off because they're not needed, but they're there so that if you need to get your youngster over a wedge, I'm just going to just pull it up, you need to attach these to the hoist. It will give you that type of pickup with that bit. So if we tighten these up and put them on the hoist, you get a prone type situation. I have to say it's probably not often used because the hip tape's taken off and they're left off. So they just need to be unclipped. But it's made in a mesh, so a lightweight mesh. So consequently, for hydro purposes, Jude, that it's useful in that respect as well. But lots of types of activities. One of our most popular. Sizing is always tricky with this one, and I know our team, the manufacturing team, are looking to help size better, because you often get a very, very slender youngster and then you think, well, actually it might be too big or it's not long enough, and you need to maybe mix and match the sizes, which is fine. We can do that, and we often do that. But if you're not sure, we'll ask for a couple of measurements and we'll help size it for you. That there's a standard guide on the website, so have a look if you think your youngster fits comfortably into a standard, but if not, we'll help with the sizing. So do we have any questions on the Rachel harness?
Not on the Rachel harness. We have got a question on the travel light. Can it remain under a child in their wheelchair?
Okay, the travel light then, the question was, can it remain under? So it's made in our superfine fabric. So superfine is a very lightweight mesh, and we do make our leave-in slings in that fabric. So it's made in a lovely two-way stretch mesh that has Coolmax in. So the Coolmax within that fabric helps to wick away moisture. So it's very, very smooth. So there's very little seams. There is an aperture though here. So it comes around here like a sling, divided leg sling. So I would say if you risk assess for suitability, and possibly yes, the fabric is suitable. It's smooth, so there's, you know, if you tuck away the tapes, then of course you've not got anything dangling. So it does have potential to do that. But like any individual situations, it's down to, you know, your risk assessment. But we know that it has been left in, particularly for travel. So if you're traveling, flights, things like that, it's quite tricky to get the slings in and out. So certainly it is possible, and we know it has been successful. Any other ones? They're good. Okay, so that's that one harness. That's the Rachel then. I'm going to move my little friend out of the way there. Jude, can you take that down there? Yeah. And then I'll show you, like the space there, the joint jumper. This is another harness. And this actually is more like a baby bouncer. So if you can picture that, the traditional types of baby bouncer. And in many ways, I think this is a better option. The Rachel harness is great, but it has tapes that come in front of the face. Whereas this is from the back. So, you know, you've got a lot more freedom. So, you know, you're not getting all tangled up. And, you know, if you've got a youngster that's got lots of movement, you know, those tapes can be getting in the way. We can actually put a cover on if you need to protect the face with the Rachel. So if you think that would help, then just ask. But this one, so the Jolly Jumper, doesn't have that. It's all coming from the back. And it has a very good back support. Let's just show you this. Jude, if you wouldn't mind, I'm just going to turn this and take it up a bit. Just so it stands up a bit more room. So this is a really good back support. So if you've got someone that has, you know, lots of movement here, it will help to prevent that because you've got that good boned back support there. Just from the front, so these straps here come over the shoulders. Just take one off and show you. Take that tape off there. So this shoulder tape here, there's loops on the sling, so it allows for growth. So you can just put it, so it's fitted. There's one, there's two there, and then the little cover slots over protection. But it actually helps to give a lot of trunk support because you can adjust that really firmly over the shoulders. So it's really good for youngsters that have, you know, variable tone to poor tone because of that solid strapping here. It's a bit more fiddly to apply, so I suggest you look at the website because you need to apply this on the bed and a bit of rolling to fit it. So once you've got it on, if we just undo it, and we'll reverse it. So imagine you're on the bed, you bring the groin section up and then feed in the side tapes, and then they have to fix around the back. You have to roll them to fit it around the back. Just take that round. And then the shoulder sections go over the shoulders. Feed in there. So a little bit of a fiddle, but actually incredibly supportive. And then there's little position handles here so that they create a little handle outside. So, you know, again, it's, you know, it depends on the situation, but a really useful, versatile type harness. Any questions? This is the Jolly Jumper. Good. Right, let's just take this off and then we'll look at a couple of slings. Right, so we've got, let's just, thanks Jude, carry on that baby up. So with slings now, you know, we do many styles, but one of our most popular is a sling that can be left in. So we certainly know that that's the request. And also left in for a wriggler. a wriggler or someone that's, you know, quite challenging or excitable. So we are going to show you one of our most popular, and this is the In Situ Deluxe. The In Situ Deluxe looks like this. So thanks, Jude. This one is made in the superfine, which we talked about with the other sling, and it is a lightweight two-way stretch mesh. Now it's got lots of give, so it will naturally hug curvatures, asymmetrical shapes. Single layer has a weight limit of 10 stone. So single layer superfine, it's 64 kilograms or 10 stone. So just need to check that. If you have a youngster who's over that weight, then we'll double layer the fabric. So double layer the fabric to make it 220 or 35 stone. But this is a really good shape. I'm going to put it on Jude. Naturally, we're using a knife open chair, and Judith is very compliant, but it's got a divided leg, so you can put it on in a chair. And the key thing is to get the sling down to the base here, so that then the leg sections come around the femur fully. It's important that we get the sling down low to give good femur support. This has got slip fit fabric to both sides of the sling paddles for ease of application. And we certainly know that once these slings are in, particularly if you've got a challenging situation and they're transferred into a tight moulded chair, then it is tricky to get out. But you would then need to check the suitability. If somebody's padded or nappied, you're going to have less issues, but there will be the binding here. However, you know, you can take the leg sections out, put them to the side, so there's minimal. Over the sort of 30 odd years that we've been making this, there's very few issues. But, you know, it's got to be down to the right size and suitability. But if we just apply the sling easily and show you, the paddle legs come through, and then you've got a modesty strap and a tape that feeds through. It feeds through. Just to attach it. Go away. I think we'll go on yellow. So the colour coding, it depends on what position you want. I'm just trying to think whether this will give Judith a good position, but it's all about working it out. If we don't get a good position, we will lower it down and reapply. But just check before you go too far that we've got it on. Just make sure we've got it on. The head support has separate tapes. We'll talk about those in a minute. Okay. And because of the elastication, you know, once you take up the slack, you will sink. The patient sinks within it, so it does then wrap around. Let's have a look. So it's a full body sling, so it's going to give full body support, but you can see it's actually stretching and wrapping around and finding Judith's natural contour. So it's a really nice fabric. It's lightweight, breathable, with the cool wax in to help with the temperature control. It's a mesh, so often people will have several so they can use it for bathing. So it's a soft mesh, so the water will drain. The head support section here, you've got bones in. Often these are taken out because they can bite in a little bit and they can be a bit stiff, but that's okay. Put your head back, Jude. So as long as you've got your head support tapes applied, then you'll get head support. So the head support tapes have these adjusters on, so we can recline or tighten. And they can go direct to the hoist if you need them to. So because you've got this loop here, it's like a twisty loop, that will find an optimum position without pulling in a non-directional way. So you can take it direct to the hoist. So the loop would look like that. Tighten it up through that buckle and it loops on. If you think that's going to be just a bit of a faff, then you can thread it through a shoulder loop so it's permanently on, and then you've not got to worry about another fixing there. So that's the options of the head support. The leg sections here, they're full paddle legs here. So consequently, if Judith's a bit wriggly, they are individually supporting her legs. So the paddle legs are great for wrigglers. That's really good, Judith. Very good wriggling.
Exercise today.
So, yes, so certainly for a wriggler, and also for anyone that's got a significant curvature, an asymmetrical shape, you can twist. The legs will naturally readjust to that shape. So in that type of situation, always go for a deluxe leg, because you can't achieve that support with a general purpose shape, the general standard shape, and you can't achieve that support with the recline or the oblongy shape. So, you know, in many situations for wrigglers, extenders, challenging scenarios, asymmetrical shapes, the deluxe is a really good option. And what we've got on this one, I've added a hip tape. So a hip tape is an additional tape at the hip, very obvious. It can be detached. So if you don't need it, or you don't want one, you just don't ask for it. But it is there to help lift the hip. And it's a little strap like that with an extending slider there. Once it's knotted on, you can leave it on. But it needs to be set to pick up and give the optimum support. So let's just try. I put it on. So what we're trying to achieve is lifting the bottom. So if you think you're slumped in, you've got a little youngster who's got a really poor tone and they need a bit of support, lift that area. By lifting that area here, it will distribute the weight. So really important if you've got a youngster with infantile arthritis, brittle bone type situation that need more support. So having a hip tape is a great option. So you set the tension to pick up simultaneously with the leg. So it picks up like that. If it's too tight, it's going to force the pelvis forward. If it's too loose here, it's not doing anything. So we need to just take the tension up just to lift that area. It's very subtle, but it's really, really good if you're problem solving. The other benefit is if you've got somebody who's really has got a significant curvature, so significant scoliosis, and their dimensions are all twisted and their legs sweep to the side, then you can adjust the tapes asymmetrically. So think about if you're trying to sort of hook up one side just to keep that youngster in the sling and not hold them in, then adjust the tapes. You may want to go shorter one side. Sling's perfectly capable of doing that. So, you know, you just need to be a little bit inventive. But the tapes on the hip tapes are really good to achieve that. I was going to say something else. So a really good shape, also good for long limb amputees. If you have a scenario like that, knee and below, the residual limb will nestle within the leg paddle there. Amputees are a little bit tricky. If the residual limb is short or through hip, then we'd look at a different shape. But certainly for a longer limb, this is a good style for that. It's also good for, because the tape here, so interestingly, this tape here picks the legs up from the outside. So if you have a sling that comes between the legs and the tapes go up to the hoist, what can happen is that as it pulls through, you can get slight external rotation of the hip. And that could be significant to someone that's got pain. So having a sling that picks up from the outside is really helpful. So certainly this style does that. So for general conditions, think about, you know, where the pain is. Just a little tip there. Any questions?
Not about this design.
Okay.
There is a couple for the jolly jumper.
Okay.
Can it be left in situ, the jolly jumper?
Okay, jolly jumper, can it be left in situ? Again, it's like everything. It's down to the individual situation, and to check, do your own risk assessment. Would there be any adverse issues leaving it in? That would be down to an individual situation.
It looks like a child would need good head control to be able to use the jolly jumper, if they tend to slump their head forwards. Is that correct?
Okay, so anyone that falls forward like this, it is very difficult to hold that head back because you cannot put anything here to keep the head back. So you either have to have a sling that reclines, keep it back, but with harnesses, when you're upright, it is a challenge. So if you have that type of situation, it may not be suitable. So, you know, we cannot hold the head back, it would be a restraint. So it's really down to the individual scenario, to be honest. So certainly with harnesses, it's a bit more challenging if you have that type of situation where the head, but the shoulder tapes here will support the trunk, but it's just the head. And it's probably a better shape than the Rachel harness, where they would get maybe tangled up in the tapes. Hope that answers that anymore. So just going back to this one then. So this is the In Situ Deluxe. In the Superfine, we have other fabrics as well, the thicker spacer mesh, if needed for anyone over 10 stone, or we double layer this one. So if you're not sure, have a look at the website because it certainly will help you with fabric options then. This style as well, but any sling that is made in Superfine is provided with a little mesh bag. So a little mesh bag that will help with protecting it, because it is a fine, delicate fabric. We want to try and protect it as much as possible. So when it's being laundered, it needs to go into that bag or in a pillowcase. And certainly these days we have lots of very clear labelling for you. So safe working loads are on the fabric if you're not sure. Safe working load, washing temperatures, codes, any safety information's on the label. All the labels are woven, so you don't get so much fading. But we do know if the sling has been incorrectly laundered, because you've got to really take great care to lengthen the life of these products. And if you find that you see the leg paddles are all shrinking, it's possibly because of it's been exposed to a high temperature, either washing or drying. So we can tell that wadding shrinks. We can also tell if the sections on the leg go brittle and fade in colour, and that's down to bleaching agents. So often a biological powder will have a bleaching agent within it, and that bleaches out the colour, and then it will make the fabric brittle. So we do recommend a very good quality non-biological powder. However, some of the non-biological powders now have whitening agent. So that can have the same effect as well. So whiten and bleach out. But, you know, you just need to just check. Certainly we can tell if there's been any Velcro, and that's caught on the sides because everything gets fluffed up and caught. So you do need to just take care with washing detergents and take the bones out when washing, yeah. But washing temperatures do vary across the board with slings, so it's really important to check with different fabrics. Thanks, Jude. Okay, we're going on now to look at this style. This is our Continental Easy Access sling. So this is a sling that we know is great for active wrigglers because it's very supportive. It's made in our structured polyester, so it's very structured. It's got foam throughout, so it's very firm, and it wraps around the torso so you can wear it effectively. but it gives good support, good head support, and also good access for hygiene. So we will put it on Jude. It looks complicated, but actually it's quite easy to put on because it is firm. You can get it into tight chairs, and also the fabric's got a natural sheen. So a natural sheen that helps with slipping it into tighter chairs. And you're not getting it very far, it's only going to the belt line here. So we get it on and wrap it around the torso. We've got a tape here that wraps around. So it's going to really fit round and hold that torso and give support. So that's getting into place. The leg sections also have foaming, so to get into tighter chairs, slide through and then cross them over. So we've got the legs on, the trunk here, and then there's a counterbalance strap. So it's 3 straps and the arm goes through there. So that's quite fiddly. It's probably best to apply this on a bed, or you can do it in a chair. But if we start from the legs, so we're going to go yellow on the legs. The trunk has several sections, so depending on how firm we need to put it, I put it on the yellow. And then counterbalance last. The counterbalance needs to go on last. So if you, is that right? Yeah. So if you've only got a 2-point like this, you need to put the counterbalance strap on last so that it actually flows on the hoist if you've got a mover. If you've got 3 points, then you've got more choice. But certainly if it's only 2-point like this, then put it on last to allow that movement. So it's not going to stop the movement, but it's going to help to keep someone sort of safer and contained just for the transfer. So what we're going to do now, we're going to see, this is going to wrap around Judith. I'm just going to untwist that. Going to wrap around her now as we take up the slack. Okay? Yeah. So if we're looking at a scenario where we've got someone that really is wriggling, really active, then let's have a look. If you just extend, can you see that? Oh, yeah, that's great. Thank you. You know, twists and try and bottom out. So you can see what the support it gives. Thank you. That's lovely. But it's got to fit firm. You can't have it loose. It won't do it if it's loose. So you've got to think about, will that be a problem? If the firmness is going to be too restricting for some youngsters, then you need to be mindful of that. The access is great here, so we can get to the belt line if you need to do a hygiene transfer. And then you've got this really good supported back section. So you can see how it's wrapping around here. It will squash round and it will push the bust up. So youngsters with a bust, then you just need to be mindful of that. So just bearing in mind. And also, if someone's very shapely, it might bite in. So it's great for slender athetoid CP type scenarios. But the front section here is all free. So if you've got anyone with a peg, then that area is free. And you should be able to get your fingers in here. If it's too tight, loosen off the thoracic section. And you can then adjust the counterbalance to recline. If we adjust these tapes, we can actually recline Judith if she prefers to be in a more reclined position. So that's quite useful as well. So this is the Continental Easy Access. Do you have any questions on this?
Would you recommend using a slide sheet to aid application?
Slide sheets are great. Certainly if you have trouble with applying a sling, then yes, the little mitts are good to smooth things out, or the little compact ones just to help slide in the back, the legs. They're really good. Definitely. There's loads of accessories to help you. If you are struggling, then certainly slide sheets are great. Yeah. Anyone? We've only got one more, so thank you for bearing with us. Just take this one off. So we sort of started with the most compliant situation with manual products and then worked up to more challenging. And our last sling, thanks Jude, is a sling that we've used or we created for a really challenging situation whereby a youngster would escape out of everything. Really, had great fun. It was a game, basically. He would get out of everything. So we were asked to come up with a product that would help to, again, keep him contained and safe for the transfer. So we came up with a Tinkham sling. So Jude, if you won't mind. So the Tinkham sling looks to have lots of tapes, but it will make sense as we put it on. And again, there's a really good video of it being applied online. But basically what we try to do is to prevent this extension by having a good head support that brought the head forward, having the shoulder sections that protracted the shoulders, and having the sling that would be worn basically, and the legs and hips would be kept in a flex position. So all that would help to prevent or limit the extension. So this is what we came up with. Now it's made in the Superfine Plus fabric, which is the black spacer mesh, which has a little bit of give. So it does stretch around the body once you've hoisted. But if we just explain, again, it's a divided leg sling. You can put it on in a chair, or when you have such a challenging situation, you've probably got several carers and it may be best to put it on the bed. But if we get the sling, there's a waist support here. And if we get that on, we know we've got it in the right place. So the waist support helps to put it in the middle, in the trunk here, central, not too high, waist level. Because you'll find that as Judith sinks into it, everything will adjust. The little soft neck roll then will adjust into the neck. So start with getting it, if it's on the bed, in position. The leg sections have the slip fit to both sides, so we can put those through. And we have a modesty strap here. Modesty strap across the width of the leg and at the top. So we're doing everything to keep the legs together. So make sure you've got the legs towards the back of the knee. It's really important that you start with them really low. Otherwise, if they ride up, and they may do certainly if you've got an extender and a wriggler, but if you start with them towards the back of the knee, we've got a better chance of that support. So we've done the legs. Now this one has 2 hip tapes. So we've got 2 hip tapes on sliding adjusters. So we've got a tape towards the knee and a tape at the hip here too. So you have to then think about this one towards the knee, maybe having a bit shorter to keep the hip flexed. So don't have them symmetrical. So have this one shorter so the hips do sink a little bit. If they're too tight, it will really help to extend. So you just need to just find the position, mark them, or get them in the slider in the right place. So 2 hip tapes. Then we've got the shoulders. As I said, the shoulders will come around to help retract the shoulders there. And then there's a head support. So lots going on, but let's just apply it slowly onto the hoist. It's easy to start from the bottom up with this one. And these have our safety slot tapes. So they're called the silver safety slot tape. They're a great lightweight tape that will just fold up and tuck away if we're leaving this in place. But it's a streamlined tape, just as strong, if not stronger than a loop. And it has the same colour coding. So if you order this type of sling, it will come as standard with these slots. However, you can order loops if you prefer. So the leg sections have got the slots. So let's put this on. Let's go green. So green, 2 hip tapes. They're on loops, so they're a slidey loop. And then the shoulder. Shoulder will go on red. We can. Let's make sure you've got. Yeah. Judith's very helpful. Thank you. I'll put the head support on in a moment, but I'm just going to take up the slack. So just take it up slowly. Put your arm in around your waist for a minute. That's it. So just as, let's have a look. Okay. So just as a recap, we've got the legs on. The legs are through 2 modesty straps there. We've got 2 hip tapes here, and we've got the shoulder tape. So let me have a look at the back. And this is the head support here, and this head support tape's got several settings. But if we put it on the short, tightest one, it will really lock Judith's head forward. You're going to push your head back.
I am.
You're trying, so it's really hard, but we could loosen it off to be kinder if we need to. But there is access, so still if you need to do a hygiene transfer, but let's see how you extend.
Very difficult.
It's and twist. There's little pockets of the head support to help with if someone tries to book out. But in that type of scenario, you can see how the sling will contain. Thank you, Judith. That's your exercise for the day. So it is the last resort, basically. So anything with real challenges, this has been very successful. There are standard sizes, however, often for it to be successful, it's best to be measured and tailor-made so that it fits perfectly, because otherwise, you know, if it's too loose, it's not going to help. And if you have that type of situation, just contact us and we will link up like this and do an e-assessment. And we will support you as much as we can. It's one of those styles that you need to really try. So consequently, you know, we'll see what we have. We have a small trial kit, and certainly the only way is trying it, but we will be able to help if we can and have the right size. Anything else about this one? Do we have any questions on this one? No? So I think those are the most popular, as I said, for the paediatric slings. Certainly, we do a lot more. We have a really good website now with lots of helpful information on, and we will make sure that we send you a selector. Did you have a sling selector available? So we've got a really good poster that shows our whole range at a glance, and it is just thumbnail images of the styles in family shapes, basically. So you can see the first row is all the straight leg styles, etc. There are the harnesses as well, and the more complicated or complex styles, or specialised, I should say. So this we can let you have. My colleague will email out a bit of feedback form, and then we'll send you out a selector if that's helpful to you. But everything here is on the website with all that extra information that you may need. And we generally try and stock the standard sizes for these. So they should be available quickly. So yes, so please, you know, we've got loads of helpful literature now. We've got a fabulous marketing department that come up with, you know, we tell them what we've heard from you guys and say, look, this will be really helpful to our customers. Can we create this? And they create it for us. So, you know, that's how our literature is so helpful. So please have a look. If you can't find things, just let us know and we'll send it to you. But I think that's probably everything.
We can talk about assessments now. That's certain areas for
Yes.
assessors in now. So
Assessments now, we've got more help. I know it's been a challenge, but certainly if you need help, please let us know. We'll see how we can help. The other thing I forgot to say, hoists. So hoists are really important. So for really challenging situations, you've got to have the right type of hoist. Certainly, you need to make sure it's the right width. Sometimes you need a 4-point open up the pickup. You've got a youngster in a very standard spreader bar, and often they're quite wide, then they can be swimming around within the sling. So I've seen recently actually, and I'm thinking, gosh, tapes go out and this little person is just literally swimming within it. So it's really important to check the hoist for suitability if you've got a very challenging situation. Are we good?
Can the jolly jumper or harness sling be used with a mobile hoist?
Absolutely. Yeah. So we had the Rachel harness on a mobile just to show you earlier. But yes, absolutely. As long as you've got the right environment and it's the right height. If you've got someone that's tall that you can get the height, then yes. So all our products will work with all types of hoists. So yes. Any more? But thank you very much for your time. I hope it's been helpful. Please, let me know if there's anything else that you would like covering. We do have our new prospectus is out the next 6 months. Next week we've got an introduction to sling styles, which is really helpful to anyone that needs a refresher or is totally confused with standard slings and their shapes. So please, have a look at that. It's next Thursday, I think. And you just sign up. It's all free. But there are other sessions as well on the website. So please look at the prospectus. But thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you, Judith, as always, for being such a helpful model. Thank you to Rhiannon as well for helping with our IT as well and our questions. But thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you.